Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has stated that Spurs will sign at least one player in the winter window, maybe two based on opportunities. He has also stated signing Manchester City star Savinho will be complicated. David Ornstein from The Athletic has stated that Spurs tried again to sign Antoine Semenyo, but they were politely turned down. Paul Merson has come out and said that Spurs need a statement signing in this January window. The Sun newspaper have just stated that Spurs have made a £150 million Warchest available for the winter window. A talkSPORT pundit has come out and said the fans need to give Thomas Frank time and patience. And Palace boss Oliver Glasner, ahead of the Palace v Spurs game, talking about Tottenham's attack, he said it is amazing. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another episode of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So first of all, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas break. Let's get into the Tottenham news from the past couple of days. Now, a couple of big updates from Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano. He has stated on Tottenham's January transfer window, he has stated, I think there will be movement for Spurs. I think Tottenham will do something for sure. It might be one player, it might be two signings based on what kind of opportunities they will find. For sure, for example, the winger position is something that they could cover in this upcoming January transfer window. Fabrizio Romano then goes on to talk about Tottenham Hotspur target and Manchester City star Savinho. He has stated, I think it's more complicated to sign Savinho in January. Let's wait and see, because you never know. But in January, I don't think Manchester City want to change anything in terms of the player's situation, as they recently signed a new deal with him. So I think they trust him for this season for sure. Now for an update from another transfer expert, David Ornstein from The Athletic. He has stated that Tottenham continue to chase Bournemouth star Antoine Semenyo, but was again politely turned down. He has stated that Tottenham tried again, proposing a highly competitive salary, only for the player Semenyo to politely decline their advances, and that resulted in Manchester City and Manchester United then emerging as the leading contenders. Now, former Premier League star, now TV pundit Paul Merson on Sky Sports, he has urged Spurs to go and complete statement Antoine Semenyo signing. He has stated that Spurs would be the perfect move for the Bournemouth star. He said, Tottenham, they need to go and make a real key signing in this January transfer window that will kick them off. They have a wage structure at Tottenham and don't really pay big money, but this could kickstart them. For me, I think Tottenham would be the perfect club for Semenyo. It would be a perfect and a statement signing for Tottenham. It would kickstart them moving forward for the next 5 or 10 years. Paul Merson then went on to say Tottenham need to go and beat a couple of clubs to his signature. He will play every week at Spurs and he will want to play football. You get the consistency of playing week in, week out. Now, Spurs youngster Damola Ajayi has spent the first half of the 2025-2026 campaign on loan at Doncaster Rovers, but he will be returning in the January transfer window. Doncaster boss Grant McCann has come out and said the two young lads, they need to play football and they probably haven't played the amount of football that they feel that they need. Our remit here is to let them go and play, and we will look to replace them. Damola Ajayi has been really unfortunate. We see him every single day in training and the ability that he does have, but he's up against the best winger in the league right now, in my opinion. Mikey Moore, currently on loan at Rangers. He has come out and said, I need to see what happens for the rest of the season. It's a hard one because a lot of it is down to the people back home. In the summer, I'll go home and have talks with Spurs and my agent as well as my family. Obviously, I like playing at this club. I'm going to do everything I can to make the most of my time here for the next 5 months. I love playing here, but let's see what happens, who I talk to and what they will be saying. Maybe I will be back. I don't know. Now, the Sun newspaper have just reported that Tottenham Hotspur have made a £150 million transfer war chest available for the January winter window. But Thomas Frank and the N17 hierarchy need to be able to persuade targets to make the move to Tottenham. Spurs understood to be desperate to land a left winger. They could also sign a left-sided centre-back. Former Premier League defender, now pundit on talkSPORT, Scott Minto has urged Spurs fans to give Thomas Frank time and patience. He has stated he hasn't been given time yet. He hasn't even had a transfer window where there has been no Daniel Levy. We don't know if these people brought in at Spurs are Daniel Levy signings or Thomas Frank signings. La Gazzetta dello Sport have reported that Tottenham defender Radu Drăgușin is a target for Roma, who could try to sign the Romanian international on loan in January with an option to buy. Various other reports in Italy are today stating that Juventus are now interested in the Tottenham centre-back. Now, of course, Tottenham Hotspur travelled to Selhurst Park on Sunday the 28th of December. Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner ahead of the game. He's come out and said Tottenham are a great team. They have a very good manager in Thomas Frank there. They've invested a lot of money. I think they have different goals than Crystal Palace. They have different opportunities than Crystal Palace. And to win against them means that we have to show a great performance. He then went on to say, I think they have 2 banned players against us, Romero and Simmons. But when I see their squad, particularly in attack, it is just amazing. It will be, like every single Premier League game, a nice challenge for us. Oliver Glasner was also talking ahead of this game about completing the double over Tottenham last season. He said, yes, that's true. 1-0 at home, 2-0 away. We had 2 clean sheets. Let's make it 3 in a row. Like always, we will go to win the game, but they do deserve respect and they will get our respect. And then it will be a Premier League game. Hopefully a nice one. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about Fabrizio Romano's comments stating that Spurs will sign 1 player, maybe 2 based on opportunities, and the Savinho deal will be complicated for Tottenham to get done. I tell you what, Spurs need to go all out in this window, in my opinion. Yes, I know that January windows are often very, very difficult, but we need an injection of real quality and players that are going to have a massive impact on this Tottenham Hotspur team, particularly in attack. It's very interesting, actually, how Oliver Glasner, ahead of the Palace game, mentioned the Spurs squad, mentioned Thomas Frank, and was very complimentary about Tottenham's attacking department. Of course, though, an opposition manager is not going to ever sit there and say that we are awful or, we need an injection of quality, but we really, really do. I think on our day, we can be a good team. And of course, we know if we are playing a certain way or a certain system, we can be very, very effective in those attacking areas. But of course, as we all know, as Spurs fans, when you take out the creativity, of course, Son left in the summer. You take out the creativity with the injured players, Solanke, Dejan Kulusevski, James Maddison, then, of course, we're going to struggle in games, particularly when these players are playing, most minutes in all games, in all competitions. But, Spurs, in my opinion, in this transfer window, need to go all out and sign impact players who have got, some Premier League experience would be a huge plus. But we need an injection of real quality. And the Sun newspaper, interestingly, have stated that there is an injection of £150 million for players to be bought in January. I tell you what, if that story is true and Spurs do have £150 million to go out and spend in this winter window, then, this is good news. And let this continue into the summer transfer window because, of course, we all know, being realistic about it, that you're going to get the majority of your deals done, and that is the window that a lot of teams plan for, ahead of a brand new season. But we just need an injection of quality, as I said, and as I will keep saying throughout the whole of January. And I hope that Thomas Frank gets players in early. We haven't heard any more about the possible departure of Fabio Paratici, so we don't know if he is leaving at all. I've seen so many reports. I've read a lot of reports out on this channel as well about him being in talks with Fiorentina, about him leaving. This would be a huge loss to Spurs. Of course, we've only just lost Matt Wells from Thomas Frank's coaching department as well, so that is another major change at the football club. How many times in the last 12 months have I talked about so many changes at the football club, whether it's on the pitch, in the dugout or in the boardroom? A lot of changes, an awful lot. Some for the better, some for the worse, and Spurs need to just keep working in all departments to improve this football club and ultimately climb up that Premier League table, because Spurs are sitting in 14th at the moment, and that is nowhere near good enough for a club like Spurs. It's interesting as well that talkSPORT pundit and former Premier League player Scott Minto has urged the Spurs fans to give Thomas Frank time and patience. But what I would say to that is the football really does need to improve. Of course, this is a results business, and we have only had one win in the last 8 Premier League games. How many managers actually survive form like that? That's what I would say. And I've always said, particularly in these last few months, we've got to see signs week by week that we are progressing and things are going to get better. And, so all of us feel that, we can feel confident going into the next game with a plan, and we feel confident that we are going to play well, perform well, and ultimately win matches. And I don't think that a lot of people feel like that at the moment. But talking about going out and making a statement signing, Paul Merson's even said this on Sky. I completely agree. How many times have I said on this channel, if you listen to this on a regular basis, I've said for years that, Spurs always need to go out and sign players, make a statement of, we mean business, and we want to show ambition and win trophies again, because that trophy parade in May was unbelievable, incredible, and we want to feel like that again. David Ornstein from The Athletic, interestingly, said that Spurs went after Semenyo again, offered a better contract, offered more money, but still politely turned down. Interestingly, the Sun report from Martin Lipton said that, Spurs need to go out really now and try and persuade players. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting window. But in January, don't put it past Spurs going out and signing a player or two on loan deals with perhaps obligations or options to buy at the end of the season. But as I say, whoever Spurs are bringing in, it can't be players for the future. It can't be players to be sitting on the bench. It needs to be impact players to walk into this team and make a real difference. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. Have a great weekend, keep smiling, and come on you Spurs.